and welcome to another episode of the No Filter, Just Faith podcast. I'm so excited to be joined by two wonderful guests. I have Chris and Barb Bagnall with me today. We are going to be talking about marriage as a vocation. So as we've talked about before on this podcast, vocation is just a call to holiness. It's a call from God, and it is lived out as a path to holiness for each individual. So it takes, there's several different vocations. We know priesthood, religious life, singleness, and marriage. So today we're going to be talking about marriage with Chris and Barb. So hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys doing today?
We're very good.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We were chatting earlier, and there's a statistic that stands out about marriage as a vocation that I wanted to make sure we started off with to kind of set the picture about why it's important to talk about marriage as a vocation. So if you compare the vocation of marriage to priestly vocations, ordinations are down 38% since 1970, but Catholic marriages are down 70%. So when you think about like a vocation crisis, Catholic marriages are down the most. So I think there's probably a lot of people in our community who either are dating, single, engaged, maybe, but are hoping to get married one day. So I figured we would talk to some experts about marriage, see what advice you can share. So why don't you start by telling us, how did you meet? And first tell us, how long have you been married?
We have been married 53 years.
Wow.
And counting.
And counting,
yes.
That's amazing. And how did you meet?
Well, we met in college.
Okay.
And I think it was sophomore year. I had seen Barb. Our college is about 2,000 students or so. Okay. But I had seen Barb on campus, and her friend, I had mentioned, I really think she's cute, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, one of my fraternity brothers took her out on a date, and I was at a fraternity party, and I'm very shy, and so I literally went over to a table, I think probably to grab a beer or something, and she was there, and so we started talking, and that was really it. That was the initial conversation. Of course, she went home with her date, but that was actually the start of our relationship all the way through college.
Wow. And so how long did you date before you then decided that you wanted to get married?
It was about 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 or 4 years.
Okay.
We knew each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Well, Barb is very popular on campus, so it was
everybody wanted to take Barb
That's
on a date.
right.
I
That's
believe
right.
it.
It was wrangling my place more than anything else.
That's amazing. And so when you decided to get married, where were you in life? You were after college?
Well, actually, we were going to get married after college. And then my brother graduated from West Point, and he got his orders. He went to Germany for a year. And then when he came back, he got orders for Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And we just really, or I did, I wanted to get married to have him there. Of course, my parents pushed horribly against that and said, just wait when he gets back.
Yeah.
Don't get married right away. I don't know, for some reason, I did. And we all decided, move the wedding up.
Yeah.
And it was really God, honestly, because my brother ended up being killed 3 months after he was in Vietnam.
Wow.
So he was able to be at the wedding and be with everybody and meet everybody, Chris's family.
Wow.
I had a huge family. So it was wonderful. People talked about that. And later on, my mom thanked us and said, thanks for pushing that.
I think really her mother was interested in pushing it back so Barb would change her mind, probably.
Said, I don't know about that Chris guy.
Yeah, exactly. No.
And so where were you married?
We were married in Pittsburgh at
Okay.
the Immaculate Conception Church.
Okay.
My uncle, my father's younger brother, was the pastor there. And he was asking like biblical questions.
Yeah.
Of course,
Mm-hmm.
being the cradle Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? Huh? Chris was answering them.
Good.
He was not Catholic.
Good
So this
partnership.
was a big deal.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes, it was
It's
funny.
that Protestant training.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Biblical.
It
Okay.
was.
Good
Yep.
combo. Good
Yes,
partnership from the
absolutely.
start.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. And so I guess when you decided to get married and you start your life together, how did your faith play into that? How did you kind of begin to say, okay, this is our life together now. We are going to build a life together. What did that look like at the start?
We had a rocky start, and it was mainly because of my brother's death.
Yeah.
You know, we were married 4 months, just out of college.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting my first job. Chris was starting his first job.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. But I used to go to a church and just cry after I taught
Yeah.
and didn't talk to anybody. And that was very special, you know, just being there. I didn't turn away from God, but I certainly didn't pursue
Yeah.
anything in talking about what was going on. Chris, on the other hand, ended up converting to Catholicism. When was that?
It was 4 years after
4
we'd been
years.
married.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
got married in 72
Okay.
in ancient times and 1976. And that's before RCA or OCIA.
Okay.
So you went to an individual priest, and we had 2 very young priests at our. And so I went to classes, you know, with him.
And played racquetball.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those.
I love that.
Well, and I think it was important because I grew up in my mother was a very spiritual person and evoked that onto me. And I just wanted to share. I was always drawn to the Catholic faith, particularly the ritual and the identity within. And I think it was important for me to make that decision to build that
Yeah.
faith in our family.
Right.
And I had no idea what that would mean
Right.
long term, but it has only brought us much closer.
Yeah.
And to be able to do this together, we've moved many, many times throughout our marriage. And we always go to the church,
Yeah.
to the Catholic Church. And then that community,
Yeah.
you know, just embraces you and helps you because we lived away from family.
Right.
And just becomes family for you.
Yeah.
Really does.
So good.
Yeah.
So marriage as a vocation really means that it's, as a spouse, it's your job to help get the other person to heaven, which feels like a lot of pressure, but also beautiful. Do you have any, was that explained to you when you were getting married?
No, not at all.
Like-
In fact, I look back then and I think, what would I have done? The best thing I can say is to be very intentional in becoming married.
Yeah.
It's a sacrament.
Mhm.
You know, none of that
Yeah.
was explained to us, nor did we have any pre-cana or any type of preparation through and with the church.
Yeah.
And I see where that's so
Yeah.
important now. And
Totally.
just you saying that kind of gives me chills because truly it is us being together,
Yeah.
sitting together at Mass, going to different, and yet we become involved with the church in different ways
Yeah.
too, independently and yet together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was prophetic because right after I converted, we were going to a fairly large church in Pittsburgh, and my first job that the Monsignor gave me was counting money. So that was the
It's true.
the
It's
beginning
true.
of it, the beginning of the financial aptitude.
That is funny. Oh my gosh. Because for anyone who doesn't know now, Chris is our finance director here at St. Clement. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think I think Barb's vocation, besides being a professor at the college, is her being a campus minister really allowed her and myself, because I helped out all the time, because if I didn't travel, I was working from home. And our kids would also attend not only the campus ministry mass, but also the number of events like dinners Barb would prepare for the students on a Thursday. So it incorporated, a lot of activities for not just us, but our entire family.
Yeah. So it's like you've always the church has always been central to your marriage from the start, but then also family life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's so special.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And to know that, we lost our major family members when we were young. The children grew up just with my father for a little bit as a grandfather, but the rest of our parents were deceased. So it became so important to be grounded in that community, wherever we were.
Right.
And it was always good. It was different everywhere.
Yeah.
But very good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's such good advice for anybody who's like either newly married or, thinking about getting married. It's like be in a community so that your community can be someone or just a group of people that's uplifting you, helping you through those hard times. But then also it's probably just people going through a lot of similar things together at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that raising our kids in Atlanta, a little bit in New Orleans, but primarily Charlotte, those were all new incubators for the Catholic Church. And, when other cities were closing churches, they were building churches. But our community, the people that we relied on, or friends, so forth, were Catholic.
Yeah.
And so because we didn't have extended family nearby or around, they really became our extended family through the church.
Yeah.
But they were such close communities.
Yeah.
You were building and it was close. You say, what advice? It's go to the church. Go to, and when I say church, of course you find the building, but it's the church, the people. That's the most important. Yeah.
So
I think
good.
it's also interesting. This is our third time back in Chicago. Once when I was working and Barb was working, and then we came back, retired, and helped out with our first grandchild. But we've always come back to St. Clement. We searched the church, found St. Clement, and then moved away, and came back every single time.
Yeah.
So it's been
And the
important.
community's just here waiting for you,
Yeah.
Oh, yes, so special.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, exactly. When I think of that, it's like we do. And when they say, oh, you can never go back. Wrong.
Yeah, always go
Wrong.
back.
Always
The
go
church's
back.
arms are always open. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
I love when people move and then a year later they're like, never mind, I'm back. I miss you too much. Wait, so what advice would you give to people, or what qualities should someone look for in a spouse?
Well, I think what drew me to Chris was he was very different from most that I had dated. He was quiet. Another person that's as loud and I am an extroverted, look out.
Yeah.
So he was quiet. He was loyal. But the way he talked about his mother really gave me chills.
Yeah.
And the way he will focus on people, it's the way they treat others, I think. So I can say, watch how that person treats others. And I realize we're not all fortunate to have great relationships with our parents. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But he was so close to his mom.
Yeah.
And the way he treated her and talked about her just really got to me. Even as young as I was, I noticed that. Yeah.
I love that. That's good advice. I love you saying that your extrovert matched his introvert, because opposites attract in that way. I think
we
it's
are
good.
the antithesis.
We fill each
Elise.
other's weaknesses because Barb is the person that brings everybody together, but I'm the one that stays around and talks, and she has to get me out of the room. And
He
the other,
keeps them.
Hey, that's
Yes,
great.
yeah.
That's awesome.
and I'm an organizational person, and Barb's not.
Oh,
and that's
now,
not a
Chris.
criticism. It's just
So
This
true.
is transitioning to
It's
the
so
couples
true.
therapy portion of the podcast.
right.
But he's always believed in me.
Yeah.
Even when I was a campus minister, no matter where I was. Guess who did all of my books
Yeah.
and finances?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just hand him everything.
That's so good. Oh my
Well, you
gosh.
certainly had different gifts and very exceptional. And going back to the qualities, I think looking at someone's empathy and compassion and how they interact with other people. Barb is a great example. People radiate towards her because she has such a welcoming spirit and personality. And that's really critical. That's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, you both said, relationships in the other person's life is a key thing to look for. I think that's so good because I love that, the quote that's like, if you want to know about a person, like ask them to show you their friends. Get to know who they spend their time with.
That's
Because really that
beautiful.
tells you so much about them.
That's it.
And same with
That's it.
their family relationships and things like that. So I think those are that's such good advice. And so how do people stay married for 53 years and and have big smiles on their faces when they talk about it? I mean,
Well, we still enjoy each other. I would say 90% of the time.
that's a good percentage. That's better. That's a
Yeah.
good statistic.
And we've been through, I mean, Chris, when the kids were young, was constantly gone. So I was trying to balance everything
Yeah.
with the kids. And then when he stopped traveling, there were days I was like, don't you have somewhere to go? And he in turn, he's such a homebody.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You just love to come home. You're such a good dad. And we have humor. We laugh.
That seems important. I
We
feel
have
like
a lot of humor in our
Yeah.
family.
I feel like if I were to ask my parents too, I feel like keeping things light and keeping humor at always around is important because, life gets hard. And so,
Oh, and even during those, everybody's going to come up against those really tough, tragic times at some point. And, even then when things weren't light, I just always knew he was there.
yeah.
I used to call him my Sherpa. When we walked the Camino, toward the end, he would take my day back. It's like, oh, my Sherpa,
Yeah.
thank you. And it was quite an image for life because
Yeah.
he is a rock for
Right.
me. And
Yeah.
I've very much appreciated that.
Oh,
And I think it's also, understanding the other person's needs. Barb has to talk things out. I, on the other hand, just want to be done with it, And that's a hard thing to do many
Yeah.
times, and you have to understand that. And I tell you, even after 53 years, I'm still not very good at
yeah.
it.
And it's funny too, it changed, I think, us when I got certified in the Myers-Briggs and I was using it with my students
Cool.
way back when.
Yeah.
And then the, strength finders. And I realized we are so different
Yeah.
that when he would come home from work, because he had to be an extrovert at his job, he would be totally depleted. Of course, I didn't understand that. The
Right.
Energizer Bunny just goes.
Yeah.
And I go over and over the same things. And I just didn't understand why
Right.
he didn't want to talk to me.
Right.
And finally, it's like, hello, just let him have some space.
Yeah.
And it really got so much better after that.
Yeah. I think that's like something that is hard to wrap my head around. Like, being in your 20s, like ever since moving out of my house, like I've just been responsible for taking care of me and making sure that I get places that I need to be and like I'm taking care of myself, those sorts of things. But when you get married, it's like all of your decision making and, your livelihood is just like combined. Like, okay, you're a team now. Like it's all about how do you keep moving forward as individuals, but really you are one. So, yeah, I mean, that must take some learning and some
Takes practice.
practice.
It
Yeah.
does.
That's yes, practice and just knowing what those individual traits are
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to change it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he would love to change the fact that, he will say to me, Barb, I think we've talked about this like ad nauseum. And I'm like, well, I need one more time,
Yep.
one more time. But just to understand
Yes.
that about each other
Mm-hmm.
and not try to change it, but
Yeah.
work with it.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Chris, what would you say about like the compromise of just, or not even the compromise, because I guess when you get married, you choose to, you're taking on another person's life and becoming one.
I heard an adage, and I'm not sure that it applies all the time, but you have to give 100% of yourself, and hopefully the other person is giving 100%, and you meet somewhere at 50 in the middle. That's a hard thing to do, but I think understanding your partner, their strengths and weaknesses, and being there to support, I think is awfully critical. I mean, we've had our ups and downs over these 53 years, but we've been able to find common ground, and go through the deserts and then ride back on the hilltop.
Yeah.
But it takes compromise and understanding the other person.
Yeah. And you both are very faithful people. I know you do your Lectio Divina group together. What other ways have you integrated faith into your marriage that has led you both on a closer path to Jesus?
Well, I can't even remember how many years ago we started this, but we pray out loud together every night.
Yeah.
Now, just understand that I'm so tired normally because all this energy has gone out, and his words just off the cuff are so beautiful.
Yeah.
That most nights I'll say, Chris, pray. And he listens to me as long as I don't fall asleep.
Yeah, then you're asleep by the
Come
end
on,
of it.
Chris, pray. And he says the most beautiful things, and he remembers so many people. And at the end, it's like, of course, God knows, but at the end, it's like, well, if there's anybody we've forgotten, But that is so special.
Yeah, praying
And
together.
Chris has had a couple episodes where he's been in the hospital recently at night. And I miss that so much.
Yeah.
It's just like that's something I think that is just beautiful and has, drawn us together.
I love that.
And I think we try to, we're at Mass every week, sometimes daily Mass. We also try to participate in a number of events. And things like the Camino was critical for us in our faith. We're going to Rome in October with Father Ken, and I think we're looking forward to that, just to find a deeper, meaning in our faith by visiting those sites and being apprised of, just the history and the feeling about that.
When did you do the Camino? I didn't know you two did that.
Yes, we did with Father Chris Robinson.
Wow.
Yeah, he asked us, is it 6 years ago now or 7?
It was 2018.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Oh, it was wonderful. There were DePaul students, graduate students
Okay.
also, Father Chris, a few staff members, and then there were 6 adults that went.
Okay.
And it was transformative. It just was that invitation to go. And then it's like, yes, we've been thinking, and I had several students that had gone on the Camino
Yeah.
shared with me. So it was wonderful.
Yeah. And sharing experiences like that is such a
Oh.
cool way to get to know each other in a new way.
And we share as much as we can.
Yeah.
For example, I'm really involved with OCIA, and when
Mm-hmm.
the masses come up, I'll say to Chris, "Okay, I need to be at 11:15 this
Mm-hmm.
week. Do you? Nope. I'll be." And
Yeah.
just he comes. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't go to a
Right.
different mass. So
Right.
that I think has been really special.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that you got married when you were kind of immature, 21, whatever, because I think that things have kind of changed where people almost feel like they have to have everything figured out or, be completely ready for marriage and a family and everything. But I think like when I think of marriage, I think the fun part sounds like building a life with somebody and, and if that starts when you're younger, that starts when you're younger. So what would you kind of say to that people felt like they have to, be ready or, have their life completely together before getting married?
I think people always feel that way either about marriage
Mm-hmm.
or having children. That's what they tend to go into it
Mm-hmm.
with.
Yeah.
And there's no way.
Yeah.
There's really not. And that's why when I look back and say intentional, watch how other people are treated by your partner.
Yeah.
Watch all of that, because that to me is the intentionality.
Yeah.
It's not the striving for perfection, because
Right.
as we all know, that will never come.
Yeah.
And I think also to want to grow together,
Yeah.
to look at and really want to walk together, grow together,
Yeah.
be together on that journey. And that takes work.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of work.
Totally.
And if you wait till things are perfect, that we have enough money or we feel comfortable in our jobs or whatever that may be, it's never perfect.
Yeah.
And, when we started out, we we didn't start working until September. We got married at the end of April. We had no money. We were eating tomatoes and going to Barb's house to feed up on food.
My parents had no idea.
Yeah.
They would put on these steaks on the grill, and my mother would say, "Frank, look at them. Look how much they eat. And they're young and so tiny." We hadn't had anything to
my
eat. The
goodness.
woman that lived in the apartment next to us would give us tomatoes.
Oh my goodness.
And so we had tomato sandwiches.
yeah. But you had each other,
Well, it was an adventure.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to keep thinking
Yeah.
of it as.
Yeah.
When you go on an adventure, the pilgrimage, for example, there's rocky roads and there's hard times.
Yeah.
And do you really think you can make it at the end? And then you do, or you
Right.
get over that road and you're fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
It's when I was hearing someone else talk about this and they were talking about how marriage is, a lot of people say, "Oh, I have to find like the one, like there's the perfect one out there." And this person was explaining it as, no, it's that you choose the one and you commit to a lifetime with that person and you entrust that God will see that through, because that's what the blessing of a sacrament is, that God will be the one carrying this relationship. And so I love that, because that's exactly what it sounds like your marriage has been.
You've said it so beautifully, Elise. God has been with us
Yeah.
the whole time. Many times in hindsight, you just like, well, that was God.
Yeah.
God was there, not us,
Yeah.
but God was there with us.
So good.
It's so good.
Well, thank you guys so much for being with us today.
It was our pleasure.
And if anybody ever sees Barb and Chris around, stop them and say hello. Lovely to chat with them as always. They're usually around. When is your Lectio Divina group that you lead?
It's on Friday
mornings
mornings after the
after-
8:30 Mass.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Elise.
you.
We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.